Wednesday, October the 2nd. You'll notice that this is a bit of a working lunch, as we have been through an hour and a half with planning and zoning. Is that all? Yes, that's all. Time flies when you're having fun. So I'll call us to order. Purpose today is to consider potential acquisition of some real property needed for our water utility, and item 2 will be considered resolution for reimbursement of temporary advances made for capital expenditures, and that's to be made from subsequent borrowings. I'll turn the meeting over to staff.
Proceed. Okay. Thank you, Mayor. It'll be no surprise to you, and due to the publicity of the matter, that in an effort to improve the city's water distribution system to its customers in the city of Perryville, that the location of an elevated water tank has been determined as a necessity. The property that was located through engineering is at the intersection of US 150 Perryville Road and Tuggle Road. The property owners are identified as Philip Rodney Marlowe and Vicki Ruth Marlowe, as has been disclosed at prior meetings on this issue in the county. The Marlowes have stated that they would accept an offer contingent upon your approval for the sum of $250,000, and they have signed a contract to such. And I have prepared a resolution for you to review and approve the signing of that contract. It is a rather standard contract. The only additional provisions would be that they have requested a post-occupancy or post-closing occupancy agreement of 90 days to give so as to allow them to identify a replacement residence, move, and things of that nature. And that was negotiated into their proposed cost of a flat $250,000. We typically discuss these matters in closed session, as would be our habit and rights under the open meetings laws. However, due to the prior public identification of this property and the fact that a dollar amount has been proposed by the Marlowes and publicity of that number won't affect the value on your end, I thought open session was appropriate in this case.
Do I hear a motion?
We need, I move we approve resolution 2019-10-0201.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
We have a motion by Commissioner Cottle, second by Commissioner Terry. We are in discussion, if any.
Sure. I think I'm on there, yeah. I just, certainly we talked about this in executive session moving forward about the location, and there'll be some questions about the amount of money we're having to pay. So I'm going to ask the city engineer if he'll kind of explain why this is our perfect spot versus a piece of property that would be at a lesser cost.
Thank you, Mayor, Commissioners. The several factors come into play when locating a water tower. Elevation is most critical. The higher the ground elevation, the lower the columns in constructing the tank. The lower the columns, the lower cost you have in the structure. This site was recommended by HDR as being the most effective for then that part of the equation. The other one is also then the hydraulics, which consist of the piping necessary to tie the tower to the system. And this site also checked that box as well. The savings to relocate this to an alternative site that was equivalent could well exceed the price negotiated and identified.
So, due to interference, as referenced by our city attorney, there was a time where we thought we were going to have to go somewhere else, which would have actually created a much more expensive proposition.
And I appreciate that. I wanted to bring it up, and I've done it before because the public wants to know, certainly. And I think you described it very well in terms of height, because you're going to a higher elevation and everything that goes with that when we're trying to get water out to people. So that's all I asked for, and I
I think
appreciate
it's
it.
also probably important to note for commissioners who may or may not have been a part of any purchase of property for a utility use, is that this project is funded from the water distribution system's budget, which is a separate pot from your general taxpayer dollars, and a self-sufficient fund. Well, it will be based upon after you prove a reimbursement resolution come from subsequent borrowings. However, the residents of the city of Danville should know that they, in fact, are not paying for the improvement. It's users of the system that are paying for it, and which in effect turns into the cost of service study that the city does from time to time to determine rates.
Any further questions or comments?
Call for the question.
Questions been called. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Motion carries. Segueing right on into what you were discussing about the financing.
Thank you, Mayor. The second resolution that I prepared for you to consider is essentially to honor a request that was made by the Marlows. The contract proposed a closing within 60 days, and they, however, expressed a sincere desire for closing to occur as quickly as possible. They have identified a property that they would like to purchase and begin moving to that is going to be available soon, should they have the funds for it. And so in order to accommodate that request, they propose that we actually close this week and being tomorrow. And in order to do that, I have prepared a proposed deed of conveyance that is attached to the proposed resolution, as well as a proposed settlement statement that outlines the costs and expenses and tax prorations, recording fees, transfer fees, things of that nature, all the customary expenses involved in a real estate transaction. And because of their request to have a timely closing, we request your consideration of these documents and further authorize the mayor to sign all closing documents.
And you need a motion to that effect.
A motion to approve the resolution 2019-10-0202.
Do I hear said motion?
So moved.
Thank you, sir.
Second.
Thank you, sir. Discussion? Seeing none, chair called question. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Motion carries. Continue, sir.
Thank you. So the last order of business in front of you is a reimbursement resolution, which would be required to reimburse the city's general fund for these expenses and other expenses related to improvements of the city's water distribution system in this area of the county to those particular users when the time comes to potentially bond the project or whatever financing may be available, KIA loans, et cetera.
Move for approval of resolution 2019-10-0203.
Thank you, Commissioner Cottle. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Commissioner Terry. Discussion? Seeing none, I'll call the question. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Motion carries. Do I hear a motion to adjourn?
I just would add that the city has been in the long game to get this transaction formalized and finalized. And while it is an improvement to the city's infrastructure, I would say that it's a true win for the residents of the city of Perryville through this effort, and that should be noted.
So noted, sir.
What's the time frame of the project, just out of curiosity, Earl?
We will start work on it immediately, the outstanding work, which is site surveying and various environmental impact studies and little things like that that are necessary, including geotechnical work. And we expect to have the plans completed and ready to advertise for construction probably in the February, March era, of 2020. timeframe.
And then construction will take how long?
6 months.
Oh. Perryville will be rich by the end of next year, won't they, with water?
Rich in water.
Motion to adjourn.
We have a motion and a second to adjourn. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. We are adjourned.